Alright, so the game Mecha BREAK keeps pushing eSports. They have a player base of probably less than 50k daily active globally through all the clients outside of Steam numbers. And that's just a guess and a number I pulled out of nowhere because I don't have any of the metrics that they have, so that's just my guess. The thing is, their marketing department did a bad job investing in one-time big streamers to play their game and move on, so they just took the bag and left, instead of focusing on small-time streamers to pump them up and have a dedicated following base that actually genuinely loves the game and its core gameplay. So with a bad marketing campaign, the game got about 150k players on launch and was met with a lot of criticisms, both valid and trash reviews, lowering the projected player base because everyone doesn't want to jump into a game that has a lot of bad reviews or mixed reviews. There were a lot of other issues here on launch, but the fact that people only hear about the game through word of mouth is giving credit to the players' love for the game rather than the actual performance values of the marketing team. The player base is important because if you want an esports scene to work, you need people to watch the esports. In order to get people to watch esports, you need more players who can recruit their friends and families to watch them participate in the tournaments and jazz. Even players from old seasons might come by to watch new season tournaments. So the more players, even non-reoccurring players, means more viewers. More reach and exposure to the game and its gameplay means more viewers. Like, if you were to imagine if StarCraft tried to launch esports like it does now on the first week, that logically won't work. You won't fill an entire stadium of people to watch a game that they don't know exists without bribing them with gifts and goodies to watch. Don't put the cart before the horse. You gotta focus on the players and viewers, then promote esports in that logical order. So more players means more viewers, and more viewers means esports is a thing. A very small percentile of viewers in esports watch a game that they've never touched or played and are probably only looking at it if it's interesting, have interesting commentary, or if it's funny. My friends who play Mecha BREAK have already mentioned that at the current way esports is handled and pushed, every mention of esports makes a player lose motivation to play the game. Some swear that people quit just based on the esports angle that is exclusionary because of the invitationals. In fact, here's a random Billy comment that I've gotten from Billy with Google Translate to show that being a Mecha BREAK fan is, and being upset at how they're doing things is a universal experience that transcends language barriers. And this is in regards to how they do the whole esports scene. And additionally, the esports scene currently in Mecha BREAK is mainly invitationals. They ran pre-launch tournaments that were invite-only, then they ran official post-launch tournaments that were invite-only, and it appears that the tournaments are hosted in China or Japan, and it appears that there's different departments running the tournaments. So the question is, where's North America, South America, or European love here? If we take a look, March 13th, they had a pre-launch invitational-only tournament. July 2nd, the game launches officially globally. July 21st, there was a Chinese Billy tournament invitational. And September 30th, recently, Japan had an invitational tournament for the Tokyo Game Show. Maybe they marketed wrong or I'm missing something here, but where is the non-invitational tournaments? Where's the love for rando North American and EU players to be a menace in the tournament leaderboards, right? Maybe they're hosting invitationals to showcase just some players for marketing reasons? I don't know. The esports ain't happening if the same people are playing in a small pond, and if you're just seeing the same big fish in a really small pond, it's not going to be a showcase of what's possible. The point that I'm making is, invitational tournaments with no open tournaments are a bad move to grow an esports model for a new game. Because if people can't play or enter into the tournaments, then a good chunk of people won't care to see what the game advertises as high-level play. At least if it's an open tournament, I could enter, get stomped, watch the team that stomps me get to first place, and then I can lie to myself, like denial, saying I had a bad seed and it wasn't a skill issue on my part. But in truth, people want to see how the teams that defeated them do, and they want to see the memorable names that they know and they played against or played with. Either they wish them well so they can cope with the loss that they had, or they wish they get destroyed so they can feel some sort of vengeance or justice. So having invitationals just means it's an exclusive club and it's not catering to an open community, which means the community suffers because it's exclusionary and it's not actually growing the community. You get what I'm saying? You can have invitationals and private events and all that jazz, but if you don't have an open option, then you're just killing the player base. You're asking the player base to make their own open option, and well, good luck community organizing something, especially if there's not a lot of rewards or anything. To sum up the beginning, if people don't know your game exists, then esports isn't a thing and won't be a thing. At most, it's just a glorified streamed LAN party. So, to improve upon this model, if you want to keep an esports push, here is some constructive criticism. I would suggest having weekend Verge tournaments online. Fridays, you have a solo queue in the afternoons and a duo queue open bracket in the evening, and stream the finals or the semifinals. So we're playing Verge still. Teams of 6 are made up of solos in the afternoons, and then there's another tournament where teams of 6 for Verge are made up of duos in the evening. In theory, if the solo tournament goes really well, the players will group up and enter into the duos tournament later in the day with the preferred teammates they get from solos, which also adds a layer of drama and pairing and partnership, which people love because humans. This would be, of course, a win for esports because gossip and drama are like the lifeblood to a party. As someone famously mentioned in my life, it ain't a real party without drama or something happening. So then you get that Friday tournaments with solos and duos, and then you have a Saturday tournament that have trios in the morning because it's Saturday, and then a 6-stack bracket tournament in the evenings. Here, the Friday tournament goers could group up to make a team of 3 or 6, and then enter into the tournament in the morning. And then the 2 trio teams from the morning can pair up to make a 6-stack to compete in the 6-stack tournament, or any combination of players from the Friday tournaments could pair up and then make a 6-stack for the 6-stack tournament on Saturday evenings. And then Sunday, you can have an Ace Arena tournament and have a Mash Mock tournament. Only need teams of 3. Don't do whatever Japan did with their Mash tournament. I don't even want to discuss it. That wasn't Mash. Just do extreme or hard co-op Mash, no squad extraction beacons, and survivors get to move on to the next big tournament. Extreme would get 2 placers. Hard would, of course, get 3 because there's 3 extraction beacons on the map. And you could, in theory, get like team griefers with a Serenith or a split push extraction beacon method, or even team wipes, which is doable and would add to the drama and create more of a buzz for the esports scene. Like, imagine if you had a murder hobo team playing in the Smash Mock tournament, they killed everyone, and no one else advanced except for the murder hobo team. That would be noticeable, and then they would be probably public enemy number 1, and it would be great to see that sort of content in esports scene where someone tries to humble them, or tries to, right? This is just, something to do on Sunday because, let's be honest, Ace Arena is kind of like neglected. It's kind of like the neglected abandoned child, and there's not really any incentive right now. They're not pushing anything really. And then Mash Mock, to run a tournament on that, you have to create new rules. So these are just ideas and suggestions, of course. With all these tournaments, you could honestly make a prize for Corite for now, and then add it up as the season progresses, with weekly tournament placers getting a chance for the season finale tournament. Participants get, like, I don't know, let's say 50 Corite for putting their name in the bucket for the tournament. And each win gives them, I don't know, 100 Corite. And then placing in the tournament gives them like 1,000 Corite plus seasonal loot boxes, something like that. This would be a low overhead cost for the game developers to offer in-game rewards to players that want to play the game on a competitive level, showcasing the gameplay. Every week, you essentially get a big tournament, and every month you could get a bigger tournament. With every season, you get a seasonal showcase LAN party, and everyone can watch and geek out about whatever the devs are cooking. And to be honest, during all these tournament times, the devs can cook more content in the background, so they're left without, like, they have essentially a shield, so they don't have to suffer criticism like they're suffering now. This tournament model gives time for the devs to cook, provided the net coding and all the jazz is in place to allow the tournament model to work. At the very end of the season, the seasonal showcase LAN party can have like 2 teams from each server participate, and then it's a sort of a global thing. And we gamers love talking trash and having god-tiered falcons or whatever the Chinese and Japanese people think that they have on their servers. And this global tournament would be able to solidify both the competition globally, and it would also shut up the keyboard warriors. It's justice, and I love to see it, and it's competitive rivalry, and this is what makes esports entertaining. Also, I know a lot of South American players are good, and having South American players in a global tournament lets people from their home countries root for them. So if they end up being the underdog that takes the championship spot, then that's better content. That's better for esports. That's a better story. That's more engaging. Global tournaments are a showcase of humanity and nations, not just the core game. So let's honor that if we're going to go this esports route. Also, side suggestion, winners of the 6-stack Verge 6v6 seasonal tournament can also design a seasonal paint job, and that would probably be sold to the players for mission tokens. Kind of like how the Twitch drop skins are. This is just like a side note, totally doable. Games like League of Legends and other games have specific skin specific stuff for the winning teams or the competitive teams that are participating in these large tournaments, and it's a great way for the game to advertise both the skin and the tournament and the esports buzz while making it not an exclusionary ecosystem. It keeps everyone engaged, if that makes sense. All right, and these are sort of additional suggestions. We can add a spectator mode, or the developers should, if they're smart, add a spectator mode so we can watch the tournament goers and not be camera panning like the announcers or the live streams. Also, add an aerial map view spectator mode like you have in the tournaments. Like we see it, it's there, it's available. We want it too. Sometimes people just want to have watch parties and they just want to see one player in a particular team shine or root for their downfall. Or maybe they want to learn from that specific player. Maybe they're like the best Serenith or the best Panther, and they just want to watch to see how they play and what they do. And this would ultimately help everyone competitively learn from each other and also be more competitively viable for future tournaments. That would be cool. Another suggestion I have is that the developers can add some sort of gambling prediction tickets mode where people can gamble fake points on the winners and losers of a tournament, and then they can be rated based off of that. That way, people who want to watch high level play and have theories can watch high level play and have theories without having to participate in high level plays and theories. And they can be rated based on what they think and what they bet on. They put their money where their mouth is, sort of thing. And then maybe we can make these prediction tickets be able to exchange for something. I don't know. It's up to the devs at this point, but that's just an idea. Also, while we're at it, why does the tournament get draft picks with a ban phase, but Ranked Verge doesn't? Seems weird, not gonna lie. Um, Anyways, this is like a good warning for anyone who's trying to push a game and push it to esports. But it's also salvageable for Mecha BREAK. Thanks for watching. I provided a lot of opinions and constructive criticisms. I think they might work. It's up to the devs to really salvage this PR image. I'm gonna go slot post something else and maybe informational content. Maybe. Have a good one. Injecting hopium particles.